Welcome back, everybody. Bloodlust Night here with another Raid Shadow Legends video for you. Here to continue off of basically what I did for faction crypts and how I completed it all to finally get my Lydia the Death Siren, which was the goal I had when I came back this year and have finally completed. Now I want to share on what I did and accomplished to finally have her, because she's not optimized with the gear I have, but oh man, she's just amazing at what she does. I'm now trying to figure out how to use her for Hydra as well as PvP, because she's just that strong of a champion. So with that today, no, I don't want that. I'm going to cover over High Elves. Now, like with many people here, those of us that aren't really whales at all, I'm not a whale, but for those of us that are not a whale, but do spend a bit, and for those free to play, it is really difficult. But this is literally the hardest. If you are not a whale or a kraken, this is the hardest one to complete. Harder than Doom Tower and then 3/4 of Centranos. Because I can complete 3/4 of Centranos. I'm trying to work my way to get up to get to Soul Cross. Like, I can get in it, I just can't really fluently beat it because there's a lot of champions I don't have that I'm now trying to get to 6-star. Doom Tower, I complete normal, no problem. I'm just now trying to get champions up for hard. For instance, since this is my next goal, I said, is hard Doom Tower, and look how far I got. I can continue forward. I need to go more. It's just I've been so busy lately. But I need to go further up to see what's room 5 is, because I can't do 4. I've done the other 3. And this is probably the Ice Spider rotation's the one that I could probably finish first. I got a week left to try and see if I can. But this is the one I could probably complete first, and then join everyone with a special avatar. But the problem with Doom Tower is the secret rooms. So that'll be another video. But even then, it's like, I'm doing that with Doom Tower. And like I said, Cursed City got refreshed, so I got to start that again. I got 3/4 done, everything but Soul Cross on Cursed City at one time, and I can still fluently, regularly do it. It depends on the champion rotation. And even further here. But Faction Wars is the hardest out of all this, the oldest content and the hardest to do outside of the super end game. It's crazy because, again, with who we have to have and acquire, and again with High Elves, look how long it took me to kill that boss. 26 minutes. 26. I was able to go through these no problem, but it's because of who I got. Now, one thing that's great about High Elves, there is a few champions we get for free that will really skyrocket. And what I love about High Elves that I've done here, I still have a rare. Here's the team I used at the far end, and I was able to do it because I got Skaramis. He was the last one of the team that was missing to complete this. But yeah, there it is. Apothecary. One of the first ones I 6-starred because he's an amazing champion for everyone starting to have. Ridiculously, like, probably, if I were to rate him in his position of where he's at, especially compared to the 4 starters, such as Elaine, Galek, and Kale, and Kale being the strongest of the 4, I'm sorry, I have to give Apothecary above all 4 of them. So if you somehow pull Apothecary, you better level him up. You better level him up and get him 6-star. I would say put him at 6-star first before your starter, except maybe Kale. That's the only one I would argue with on who to do first. But Apothecary, definitely. So yeah, as you can see here, super speed, super fast, and it's not even my best speed gear yet either. I pulled a whole bunch. Like right here, I pulled a whole bunch. Much better ones. Much better ones. I've been trying to keep his speed up. And like, here's this one, and then there. Like, much better. Here it goes. I need to see if that one can get up. Much better weapon. See, that will increase my speed. I just haven't done it because it's like, okay, he's just great as it is, even with that, without having maximum speed. But maximum speed, ooh, yes, he will definitely keep your team alive and go super fast. So great thing with Apothecary, of course, a triple hitter at random, bleh, who cares? It's the other 2. A heal by 35% that can crit. So crit chance is not a bad idea to have on him. Crit damage does not work, so just go crit chance. Because Why would you damage your own team? That'd be weird. But yes, a heal that can crit. Really useful, especially at the bottom where it's like, oh no, I'm going to die. Nope. Boom, I crit you, you're full health. And then of course this one, 30%, the big increased speed for 2 turns and fills our turn meter by 15%. And again, 3 turn cooldown, 2 turn cooldown when fully booked, and he is easy to book because he's a rare. That's crazy. And so he's been my main healer throughout the entire High Elves crypt. So yes, he is not one we can get for free. You have to pull him. But if you pull him, which again is really easy to do, well, a little bit more difficult than when I got him because there's a whole lot more rares out now. Like when I started, Shadowkin and Sylvan Crypt was not even in the game yet, and there wasn't a whole lot of dwarves. But so it may take a little longer. But I mean, I pulled him regularly quite often. Like here's another regular one I just got. But when you do and you get your rares and you go through and you pull him, you keep him and you level him up. Because like I said, he's here at the very end, last stage in High Elves. And it's one thing I love so much, is that there are rares that we can use that can take us all the way to the end through faction crypts. I love that. I love it when it's rares, because then that gives everyone else who's newer or free to play a better chance at completing the faction crypts and keeping up with everyone who's a whale or kraken. That I love. So that's why yeah, definitely hit this and lock him so you don't get rid of him. But Apothecary, I enjoyed so much for that because of it. Now, another thing that's interesting here too, yes, I did get lucky with Neldor when Neldor was first introduced in the game, like last year, I got him. And then what I did is I decided, since I was working on getting hard mode unlocked, and I was like, okay, who do I need to do? Who do I have right now? Because I didn't have Creed on the Blue at the time. Who do I have right now that could help me with hard Fire Knight? Well, I have Neldor. And then I saw a video of how ridiculously hard Neldor hits. I just went, okay. Got him to 6-star. He was my attacker. So I went with that. And it did help a lot. The other ones I have, the other two, they're free legendaries. Not him, he sucks. Not her, she's also bad, but she's not even free either, so why bother? No, it is Arbiter, which eventually everyone will get. It will take a while. Definitely, when you start, utilize doing the arena, because that's what slowed me down at the very end. You will get to the end. You will get to the point where you can do the clan boss no problem, or at least have many keys saved up to get him done. And you will do stage 20, because you only need to go to 20 for the boss dungeons. You will get there. It didn't take me that long to get to stage 20 on a few of the bosses, especially Spider. And no, not with Artak. A few others. I got Spider up there. But, yeah, you will eventually get her, and you can use her for faction crypts. And like I said earlier, faction crypts is one of the hardest ones to do. Everyone gets Arbiter long before they do anything in faction crypts, because there is no faction crypt mission really needed for her. So yeah, you can get Arbiter, you'll get her in time, and yes, she is super speed, especially since I have her. You can even spec her all the way for arena. Super speed, 422 resistance. She's not going to get stunned. 51,000. I have her for arena. I just have these in there for just some accuracy. And even then, she just goes super ridiculously fast. I didn't have her fully booked either. I was working on Packmaster. So even without being fully booked, I still used her faction crypts to help me. Helps a lot. It's just a very, very... You do have to be aware of this. And since it was a 7-turn cooldown, I had to be extra careful, so I never really touched it. Even though it gives turn meter by increase by 20%, I never touched it just in case I needed to revive, and I had to do that several times, which is why it took me over 20 minutes on the last boss. 7 turns I had to wait. Now it's 5 turns, but even then that's still long. But that's what I did. You do basically do that and then do that just to heal him back up. So she helped with my reviver, my healer, and again, with them doing so much turn meters, I basically went 3 to 4 times against the boss because of him. I've had Neldor use some of his abilities twice before the boss went, because I was going so fast. And what also helped is that one, especially with wave clear, Yannicka. And she's another one we can get for free. And you can see I don't have her 6-star, I don't have her booked, but she's another champion we get for free through the clan shop, which I would recommend getting her a lot, because she will help you in the long run, especially if you're still having trouble with campaign. She hits hard. She does. Attacks one enemy 2 times each hit, and then each hit has a 50% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns. However, if she is under a veil, will attack all enemies twice instead. And then she has this ability. Attacks one enemy, places a perfect veil on this champion for 3 turns if this attack is critical. Now, even though this is perfect veil, that also means veil or perfect veil. As long as she's basically hidden, she will do the AoE. But then does that and grants an extra turn, and it does hit really hard. This also hits really hard. Ignores all shield buffs. So in situations which this faction crypt does not face the Valkyries, which I was like, oh, thank you, she can still go right ahead and take him out, as well as if anyone does Master Shield, she removes the shield when she's under a veil. And again, she hits hard. So that's what's really good. So like that, there's another attacker, and I was like, I'll utilize that because I have 2 super speed demons here. One's a healer, one has a revive. So I was like, okay, super speed demons. The problem was this, even though with them, I was like, okay, I need a defender. I need someone to help to ensure that my team will last a bit longer, because especially for like cases of the boss, or I do face champions that like the 5 healers, which this one didn't have, or just hard hitters. So I'm like, okay, I need someone to help with that. And I was looking around, I was like, okay, I was gonna do Andrisia because I had her. I was like, she's in the vault, what does she do? And she has great ones. So decrease crit damage debuff for 2 turns. Meh. That's if they do crit and it's 15% chance. But then a stun debuff, debuff, burf. 75% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn if the target does not have any active buffs. Now that is a bit of a situation that does hurt, but 75% chance of placing a stun debuff for 2 turns if the target does have any active buffs. So that's why I first read that first half, was like, oh, that's that's bad. Then I read the second half and went, oh, she stuns regardless. It just depends on whether they have a buff or not. If they have a buff, 2 turn stun. Oh, that's a nice attack you got there for 2 turns. Boonk. Good luck. It's too bad you can't use it. That's basically what she does. So that was good. I'm like, okay, so she has a stun, and then attacks all enemies, 75% chance of decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs for 2 turns. So I'm like, okay, so she helps with the buff problems. Then increases the duration of all increased defense buffs on all allies by 1 turn. I'm like, okay. I'm not utilizing a bunch of increased defense, but who gives out increased defense since I'm not using that? It's her passive. And this is why I was building her to use her for a bit, especially with Yannicka. Start of each turn places a 50% ally protection buff for 2 turns on the ally with the lowest max HP. And again, in this case, it would have been Yannicka because she's 5-star. Will not be placed on this champion. And then also places a 25% strengthen buff and increased defense buff on this champion for 2 turns. So she's increasing her defense a lot and can increase the duration even further. And she's a defense-based champion that also bonks him on the head. So I was like, So I was looking, that could be very useful to have, especially keeping my nuker alive. Which, despite the fact everything I did with Neldor was Yannicka that did the damage. She hits hard. So like, okay. The sad part is it only affects 1 champion, but I'm like, out of everything else I have, nope, terrible. Nah, no. One of the end game ones people are using, but he's an attacker, so I'm like, okay. I'm like, do I really not have a really good defender? And I'm like, nope. And I was like, oh, that sucks. I don't have a good defender. I got her late. I'm like, oh no, what do I do? So I was using her. But then right before I got her to 4-star, right before I decided to use some of the champion foods I got up and get her to 5, I pulled Skaramis. And I was like, oh. That's it. I just went, oh. I gotta start recording my pools. I was like, you? Oh, I've heard good things about you. And I have. I looked at Skaramis when he came out, and then people saying, do not underestimate him. He's actually a really good tank to have. HP-based champion, can place a stun, but also has a chance of stealing 15% of their turn meter. 20% chance of placing a stun, if the turn meter is fully depleted. Now, it does go up to 90%. It doesn't go to 100%, unfortunately, but 90%. So, and then 30% chance of doing a stun. So I'm like, okay. But then attacks all enemies, decreases duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn, 6% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns, fills this champion's turn meter by 10% for each buff that it has its duration decreased. So I go against someone who has a lot of buffs on him, he smacks them all, decreases it, goes again. I've had that happen a few times. I was like, okay, and then he's got to provoke. 75% chance. It does go to 100% when fully booked, which mine, as you can see, is not. On all enemies for 1 turn, and then places a counterattack and continuous heal on this champion for 2 turns. So I'm like, okay, so why did I switch to him? It's that provoke. Provoke, decrease buff duration, and then chance for stunning. So I'm like, okay, he's a much better control to have than Andresia. Andresia will only keep Yannicka alive. So I went, all right, because of that, I'm going to use him and see what I can do. And as I say, I didn't even have really good gear on him. I just threw random ones on him. I did switch for better ones, but the bolster I left on. So I was like, okay, let's do that. And yeah, I wanted him a little slower. I didn't want him super fast for that counterattack ability. Although it would help to make him go a little faster. Let me do this real quick. Oh no! Yep, there's my problem. I think the cost, I think they do need to bring down a bit. Just bring it down a notch. Especially the cost of removal. But yeah, so that's the 5 I used at the very end, and I got Skaramis used up to here at stage 18. Because 17, yeah, I still had Neldor. So here, just to show you what they do. I had Neldor and was using Neldor and Yannicka at this point. That's why I was a little fast. Right there, just super fast. Yeah. Oh, there's a problem with the AI. But yeah. Why I hate the AI sometimes. So let me turn it off. She didn't go into a perfect veil? Okay. I'm confused. Did I miss something? Or is she supposed to she's supposed to crit? She's not at 100%. Be sure you do that with Yannicka. Make her 100% crit. Yeah, just here they go. The leech did help too, because even though with Apothecary he is a single target in his 2 turns, but that leech did help quite a bit, especially with Neldor. There's a provoke. He needs more accuracy. So Skaramis is one of the few I have that's on the back burner of putting the 6-star to see what he does at the very end, especially when doing hard mode like Doom Tower and Centranos. See, that's what Yannicka's supposed to do. When she is stealth, she does AoE and does leech everywhere. See, just like that. She does more. Apparently she does more with shield. Ah, now here's the problem. Oh, man-eaters. There, so that helped. So that was another thing with here, like Man-Eater being a problem. Arbiter can decrease the cooldown by 1. Skaramis can do it, but again, I don't have Skaramis in the best of gear. Just enough to help. That's all. He used my bolster holder. And that's a good thing with Neldor too, he freezes. I forgot to go over Neldor. Neldor is amazing. Massive AoE, decreased speed, chance of freezing in his A1, and then he has one where he just strikes 4 times and has a chance of putting a debuff per between the hits. So that I mean, yeah, and this was just basically ended up being a no-brainer. The last one I did, like I said, I had to turn auto off for the boss just to stop Arbiter from using her revive. So, yeah, as you see, Neldor doing the damage. Yannicka, unfortunately, did not get the fail. And plus, she's 5-star. If I had her 6-star and used her, that would have been great, but she's not going to be used in Hydra anymore because the shield got capped. Oh, well. Still hits really hard, though, so don't... And she's free! Why would you not go for Yannicka? Definitely go give Yannicka. Then definitely use her for this. Because even then, like, I got lucky here with Neldor just freezing everyone. So, that was that. That helped a lot. Then... just to see who else I have for High Elves, I mean, that's all I have. I've only pulled Pixneal. We got Alexander for free, and he's the worst legendary in the game. That's sad. Yannicka's for free through Clan Shop. And then Arbiter's for free if you do all her missions. Which also definitely go for Arbiter, because she's the #1 used for Arena. And yes, as you can see, I didn't... There's one free champion I missed, and it was not during the hiatus. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how I missed it. I do not have Deliana. I'm waiting for the code to return. They brought her back, and I missed the code too. I was like, man, it was when I was moving they brought her back, so I missed her again. If you got Deliana, definitely use her, because she would have helped me, and I probably would not have done Scaramus. I would have had her completed a long time ago had I got her. One of the free champions we got a long time ago. I have to wait for her to return. Deliana is even being used in PvP. So if you have Deliana, for those of you that have her free, definitely use her. And definitely max her out just for PvP Arena for that part, so you can get the Arbiter missions done faster. She's really good. HP-based champion, attacks all enemies, has a chance of placing a leech for 2 turns. Really helpful, especially if you want to keep your DPS alive, because that's a heal source. Attacks one enemy, 70% chance of placing a decreased resistance debuff for 2 turns. Definitely would have been helpful for Neldor. Target is under a block buffs debuff, also applies a debuff spread effect, taking any decreased resistance debuff on the target and placing it on all enemies. And then here, she places a block buff on all enemies by attacking, 75% chance of placing it for 2 turns. Heals all allies by 5% of their max HP for each one placed. And then fills the champion's turn meter by 10% for each block buffs debuff attempt blocked or resisted by the enemy team. So I was like, oh, I didn't place it on him. Well, I got more turn meter, so I'll go faster. And then this one increases the champion's action by 2 for every 1,000 HP this champion has. She's an HP-based champion. Oh yeah, going to have a lot of accuracy. Places a 25% strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns every time this champion's HP drops below 50%. She's always been annoying for me. Like, I can easily kill her because of who I have, but she's always been annoying to me in Arena, especially when she was introduced, and I don't know how I missed her. Which is still sad. But I can take her out now because the strength is not a problem. But before, yeah, it was a problem. Putting that strength on everyone. So if you have Deliana, use her. She will help keep your team alive. And can do a lot of damage herself. So that's the sad thing. I did not pull her. I wish I had her. It would have been much easier. So that's the one sad aspect. I did not get Deliana. And yeah, as you can see, I did not pull any of the others. Which a lot here would be very useful. Orthorian, especially for Hydra. Now that everything's going to be changed on that. Lonatharil. Actually, he's actually pretty bad, but he does help for keeping some things alive as I looked. Lysandra, really good arena champion to have, especially turn meter control. Tatura's actually really strong. And a lot of these are actually really strong. Supreme Elhain, which I think is the strongest of the Supremes. So just having any of them would definitely help you, except for him and her, except for these two. That's what sucks. I'm like, yes, I got a legendary high elf. Yes, she's terrible. So I had to rely on epics, and yeah, as you can see, I pretty much almost got all but 2 of them, or 3 of them. One being the best one. Would have been helpful if I had him. Vergis, I'm sure for those of you who even do the potion keep, especially the spirit potion keep, he is a total pain to deal with. A lot of players hate facing him, especially if you don't have the strong enough champions to go against him. He is a major pain to deal with. because of this passive second wind. Oh, you hit me? Let me put a shield back on. Oh, you hit me again? Let me put a shield back on. Even if his shield's not down. Oh, you hit me? Let me put a shield back on. It's like, come on, stop that. And then continuous heal and shield when he activates. It's like, stop. He is a pain. If you do not have strong enough champions, he's a major pain. That's why I was like, I wanted him because he also has that. Like, what? Excuse me? I'll target one ally. He'll get a continuous heal speed and reflect damage on him. Then I'll give an ally protection on everyone and increase defense on me. What? The auto buffinator over here for high elves. Look, that's insane. I really wanted him, and I never pulled him still. I still have yet to pull him. I really wanted him for faction crypts. If you pull him, utilize him. That's insane. So that's insane. And then he can put a reflect damage on a random ally. It's a 40% chance, which I find it weird as a chance to put it on an ally. But it's like, okay, it may give it to him, it may not. But reflect damage, like, ugh. God, I wanted him so bad and I never got him. And again, Skaramis, he's on the project for 6-star to maximize his efficiency more better than what I have now. But he definitely helped at the very end just to keep my team alive, especially with that provoke. Royal Guard, I got him the 5-star, haven't utilized him. He is a hard hitter, so if you don't have Yennefer yet or Neldor, Royal Guard's a really good option if you have him. As for most of the others, nah, No, I did have Luthia. She was my first epic I got in the game. And I did use her for a long time. I used her for a lot. And this did help, but not to how it was. I did try her out again by changing her gear and see what she did, and she ended up being a lot better than I anticipated. But she's still not as like what Neldor did, so sometime down I'll try and see what she does. Maybe I may make her to 6-star just in case for the high elf Doom Tower portion, just to see how that goes. I got her late, never used her. Terrible, and I have them. Terrible, and I have them. And meh, and I have her. No, didn't use her. Was going to use her. The only one I'm surprised I didn't use was Ethlin the Golden. I'm sleeping on him. He is actually pretty good. He's actually pretty good. So I'm sleeping on him. I mean, that, yeah. Yep. Support, defense, and HP-based champions. So, don't sleep on him. He's actually really good if you got him, but he is a Void Epic, and I did pull 2 of him. So, I don't know why I'm sleeping on him, but he's good. I just didn't feel like wasting the resources to get another one up when I was working on Royal Guard at the time in Neldor. So I was like, I'm not doing 3 at a time. So yeah, let me know. I don't know how these 2 are, but yeah, I would be sad if you all say, I have Vergis and using him, aha. I'd be sad. I really want Vergis. And as for rares, like you saw, Apothecary at the end. Apothecary, no-brainer. Get him to 6-star, he will be used. Apothecary is amazing. Even for those of you who start and you get him, oh man, I got him early and I was happy. He helped me go through campaign like crazy. Definitely maximize Apothecary, because I mean, there's even a bunch of videos from even the CCs. Shout out to Ash and Hell Hades, they mentioned a few times. Apothecary is just definitely a rare worthy of being 6-star very quickly. So definitely do that to him. Elhain, one of the starters, is a good one to have too, because she does have 2 AoEs. So really good to AoEs. So definitely, she's a good one to have, one of the starters. I did not start with her though, I started with Galek. As for the Eris is being used at endgame, I'm still not doing anything with her yet. So if you got Eris, and she is one you can get for free in campaign. So definitely, if you really need a good one, go for Eris for a rare. She's a free one that everyone can get in campaign, so definitely farm her. She's still... I have to look her up again. I'm just haven't done anything with her yet, but she's being used in in-game content and various things. So definitely Eris. Especially for Clan Boss, I believe. I think it's Clan Boss what she's being used for, so definitely use her if you're having trouble with Clan Boss getting past Brutal. She'll help you with that, and she can be used for Nightmare. As for those this is where I'm going to ask you. I tried looking at Selenia, and I was like, okay, she has some interesting things. I'm like, very interesting. One of the later rares that came out like a year or two ago, so I didn't use her. But I'm like, she has a very interesting kit. I don't know how well she utilizes and everything. But I decided not to do anything with her. Reliquary Tender is another good one to have. She's actually a good healer and a reviver, so if you have her, she is a void, sadly. But if you have her, she's a nice one to fit that one slot for a healer reviver. As for the rest, I've never really used. Some are like, what? So that's that. And then uncommons, Elfguard. The only thing I'll give exception is Elfguard. She was mentioned a few times by other people, especially as a trick to use against Scarab King, because decreased attack decreases the enemy's current turn meter by 50% on a 2-turn cooldown. And if you have 2 of her, you can almost basically turn meter lock the Scarab King out. You just better hope you keep getting shields back up. So that's the only thing I can give with Elfguard, is that if you have multiple, you can pretty much turn meter the boss out. But other than that, it's like, yeah, she's not going to get you far. It's an uncommon. So that's about all I got. So let me know down in the comments, which other rares are you using besides Reliquary, Elhain, and Apothecary, because I know they're amazing. But let me know, or Eris. Let me know if you're using Eris. How good is Eris in the waves? I know she's good for boss. And as well as the others, have you tried any of these others? Again, I heard bad, like, ugh. Okay, let me know. And then epics. Like, especially same thing with epics. Or actually, I was going to use her, but no. Let me know about that if you're using some of the really bad ones, or if you're, again, I will cry if you say you have Vergis. Oh, I want Vergis. And then if you're also more lucky than I am on these legendaries, and if you have Deliana, I will cry if you have Deliana too. I don't know how I missed her. But let me know down in the comments which teams you're using to get through the High Elves, and I'm hoping that this does give you some insight of what to go for, especially, again, with some of the rares. Eris, Elhain, Reliquary Tender, and Apothecary. There's 4 rares. And Eris. Oh, I already said Eris. Yeah, I think I still need more sleep for my month-long work. But yeah, the 4 rares, one you can easily farm for free, one's a starter. The only one that's difficulty is Void, but if you get Apothecary, oh yes, definitely go. So with that, I hope this does give you some insight. Do hit that subscribe button for more video content like this, and the bell notification for when it does upload, because again, like I said, I just got off a month straight of work. It's just to help you to know when I upload these videos. And with that, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I hope to see you next time.